And I see this Brigadier General with them kill. If say now for East, they kill them. Military for don't wipe 3 to 5, 6 community. If say now for East, all of them know. They want Nigeria, they clear. They love the clear. And they see the tribalism. And they see the sentiment. Now waiting with the see.
Governor of Kebbi said that somebody ordered troops out and people were kidnapped. Till today, nobody in Nigeria knows what happened. And no question has been asked. And we are sitting down here as a parliament and we turn and we talk. Yet, somebody is responsible. If I'm the commander-in-chief, I will call the army commander in that place and the head of the army and say, if you don't get me the head of this person who withdrew the troops to put all these children in jeopardy, then you make an example of him. That is how a country is run. A country is not run on pacification. A country is run on confronting issues. I rest my case.
How can an offense that carry death penalty, a judge reduce it to 20 years in prison? That is not acceptable. He has violated the laws passed by the parliament. Number 3, sir, and this will be the last.
Has that happened in Nigeria already?
It has. Somebody convicted of terrorism was sentenced to 20 years in prison. When the law says act of terrorism, if convicted, shall attract death penalty, no judge has a right to pronounce less than that. It is only when you have implemented the law, interpret the law, not the sentiment of a judge, the will of the people as conveyed in a law, then the president can decide if there are reasons for him to do so, whether to commute or to reduce. Death penalty or terrorism. This parliament is on record as having done that. Mr. President, I am troubled when, after all the efforts that security agencies and the prosecuting authorities have to invest to secure conviction, because unfortunately the state cannot behave like a mob. So you have to prosecute, follow due process. I am troubled by the conflicting judgment by various high court judges.
There was a conviction recently of a terrorist, Boko Haram. I believe his name is Husseini Ismail. He was convicted for 20 years by a high court. He was a Boko Haram terrorist. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted, I think, last week, and his own conviction said life sentence. I don't understand why one terrorist is getting 20 years and the other is getting a life sentence if you're saying that. I think Pastor made a good point. There's this idea that justice is served differently, and it affects the problem.
First of all, let's just start from intervention to have Nnamdi Kanu released politically. Yes, I think for every Nigerian, the whole world should understand very clearly. By the time we start asking ourselves questions, what is a political solution that the government are looking at now? Before they are able to arrive at, seeking political solution to the fate of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I can tell you very clearly they are on the disadvantaged side, because they have seen and sensed that there might be a collapse of the system against giving the outrage that judgment has been able to generate across all over the world. And it has put Nigerian image to a point of being facing serious check globally, or how they are be able to arrive at that. Though a lot of people are saying from the international community that the judgment was purely political motivated. I think that's why the government themselves are driving themselves towards the issue, because if they fail to, get to that point of having a political solution, Nigeria might be having another issue completely, because in the absence of justice, then you are expecting injustice, and injustice comes with a lot of conflicts, like the one that federal government themselves put themselves into by carrying out bringing illegality to the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Of course, now we'll talk about a political solution. It's a way of resolution, of conflict resolution, compromise. A lot of things are being put on the table, and it depends on how the federal government is going to come to the table with all the structures of the federal council on the table, and of course the other side of the party, opposition party too, coming to the table with all the structures, But from what we are hearing from the man himself, the IPOB leader himself, who has given a certain revelation about the so much talk about political resolution, is that he was trying to say that anything that will stop Biafra is completely written off from that circle of offering political solution.
I don't think that is on the table.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to your point. I just want to give an insight to that. So if you see politicians from the Southeast extraction, begin to chorus political solution, like the one we saw the governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, coming up with, that he has activated, so many other people, Benjamin Kanu, some powerful celebrities too, has added their voice. Obi Kubana and the chief priest has also added their voice, and this thing has been generating a lot of things. But the first thing remains when they are talking about political solution. I'm telling you that the political solution should be seen to be very, very transparent, very well coordinated, articulated, so that it will not collapse to a situation where it will be seen that as a means, to squeeze or kind of, put Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on a very tight corner.
But I don't think dropping Biafra agitation is on the table, because I want to believe that Alex Oti want to leverage on his personal closeness, friendship with the president, talking about Senator Amabra.
Yes, the fear, the whole, you can see everywhere is just, funny now. The entire Southeast is quiet, and we don't know what that quietness actually means. But when you are talking about it, this is not the first time we are seeing these politicians coming out often and on to talk about they are closer to the president, they are doing this, they are doing that and that, there's going to, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to be free and other, unless they have, a certain plan, they are not disclosing to the public,
Okay, now let us bring the angle of the man, Okechukwu, someone who was wrongfully accused in 2022 from Abia State under detention of DSS. The new DSS DG, talking about Ajayi, who had decided to allow the man go with a compensation of 5 million. This is a welcome development, if I may say.
Yeah, it's a very good development. It's a welcome development, as 2023 to date, and I think, they have found out that most of these things we are being carried out out of, victimization, not based on law. And most of those IPOB members who are, I'm not even saying they are IPOB members. They are IPOB by birth. That's the fact. So if you look at it, maybe they find out that there is the structure by which these people were being incarcerated. Let me use that word. Was based on victimization.
It was clear that they were wrongly accused.
Of course, if he has admitted that,
No, you have admitted that.
Okay, you can see very clearly. Just like where everybody is saying that, Jason Motosho, wrongly passed prison judgment on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wrongly, and it is generating the heat within the political space, both those in the north, both in the east and the west and other. So I think they might have gone behind and start pushing a political solution from the Southeast politicians, and that's what we are talking about. And remember, if you are talking about political solution where it is not favorable to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, of course, I don't think why the matter still goes to appeal. I don't think Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is actually going to take that. But we look at a situation where conflicts, disagreements, injustice are gotten to a point of, seeking political solution. We must understand that. How did this thing get to this very point where we are talking about political solution, because the government themselves have sensed, that the judgment did not go down well within the national space and the international space, so they are banditing, or no, they are talking about how they are going to resolve it, possibly outside court, but I can tell you very clearly that if Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually mean to give to be lenient to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we know he knows what he's supposed to do in that regard. So these are just processes that we cannot actually put our confidence to, because of our past experiences where we have seen political elites from the Eastern Nigeria meeting with the federal government, trying to carry out a political solution which consists of negotiations, and all that. And then somewhere along the line, we don't see the federal government coming up, with their own side of reality on the issue.
Now, apart from the governor of Abia State talking about LSOT, we have another man talking about Judicial, a politician in that from Eastern region, who have claimed that he's equally working behind the scene, who attributed some effort to himself with respect to when Nnamdi Kanu was released in sometime 2017. According to him, equally working behind the scene.
Let me just tell you very clearly, most of these guys might be coming out to just put up a story, try to see
to win the heart of the Igbos.
Yes, but in reality, they might not be doing anything about it. That just they will just.
But why is it that most people
politics with the imprisonment and the
why is it that most people believe LSOT when LSOT speaks?
I think to a certain level, I remember before this judgment was passed, LSOT has also made similar statement that is making sure when the elders of our Farouk kingdom paid him a courtesy visit and demanding that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released unconditionally. Please mark that word, unconditionally. And he also made statement that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is his friend and they are working on it and all that. So you begin to have a series of but the only thing at that point that is actually pushing the federal government to start marketing political solution to Nnamdi Kanu's case is that the judgment do not go down well.
I ask this question because people have spoken about political solution before, but hence it came from LSOT. People now believe, particularly people from eastern part of the country.
Yes,
so what is in LSOT that is not in other people?
Yes, the thing is that LSOT has shown some level of integrity and credibility in his government. And he has been able to consider the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also came from Abia State, And remember, too, that the Agocha, who happens to be Mazi Nnamdi Kanu constituent, in that regard, has also made a certain statement that, they are going to exploit other means, including political solution, But I don't know how they are going to come up with it, how they are going to align, coming together and other, sensing, the silence of the youth of the Eastern Nigeria reacting to, that kind of judgment that was not based on law.